Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is I, your friendly neighborhood moviegoer, John L., and we're back at it again, talking more movies, more fun times at the theaters. Let's get right into it, shall we? No long drawn out story this time around. We're talking about Creed 3. It premiered last Friday was the release date, March 3rd. I watched it on March 2nd at my local AMC theater in IMAX, which to boast the premium screen should be the only way you watch this movie. Check this particular film out with my boy Rob Lowe, aka Big Bob Bennett. We were supposed to meet up and watch the movie together. He ended up having his own circumstances and situations, which I am not allowed to discuss at this point in time, that he had run into. So he ended up coming to the movie half an hour late and sat in a row where there was a free seat. So we ended up watching the movie in the same theater, just not next to each other like we were supposed to. But anywho, on to Creed 3. This is the 9th movie in the Rocky movie franchise, the 3rd Creed film, featuring Michael B. Jordan as Adonis Creed. And this particular movie co-stars Jonathan Majors. Man, he is him right now. Jonathan Majors doing big things in Hollywood. Super proud of the man. Terrific actor. And played a terrific role here in Creed 3. But to give you the synopsis and what's going on with the movie, here is what they say through MGM via, I believe, United Artists released this movie. So the synopsis reads, after dominating the boxing world, Adonis Creed has been thriving in both his career and family life. When a childhood friend and former boxing prodigy, Damian, resurfaces after serving a long sentence in prison, he is eager to prove that he deserves his shot in the ring. The face-off between former friends is more than just a fight. To settle the score, Adonis must put his future on the line to battle Damian, a fighter who has nothing to lose. So, the drama in this film that ensued due to the fact that Jonathan Majors basically felt like he was left behind, and Adonis never checked on him while he was in jail. He was in jail for 18 years, folks. 18 years. That is a long period of time for anything, let alone being in jail and being locked up for half your life, basically. And based off all of Adonis' success and everything that Damian was able to see in prison, he basically had it in his head that Donnie, aka Adonis, was living the life that he deserved. Because Adonis, as a young teenager, wasn't necessarily into boxing. He had a bad temper and he got into fights, but he wasn't necessarily boxing that early. Damian, on the other hand, he was a Golden Gloves boxer, and he was on the road of eventually turning pro if he would have kept his head on straight. So the story develops. Throughout the film, you see flashbacks to their childhood. Not everything played out in one fell swoop. They broke down their origin story throughout the movie. First, we get the seed planted, where we see that Damian gets locked up due to the fact that he pulled out a gun to save Michael B. Jordan from a potential beatdown by a group of young men. After Michael B. Jordan put the beats, he beat a grown man down. We then later on in the movie get to find out why Michael B. Jordan put the beats on this man by the name of Leon, in which Michael B. Jordan, at a particular point in time, found himself in a group home with Damian, and this Leon character was basically the father figure in this group home, and Leon used to put the beats on the boys. So flash forward, all these years later, Michael B. Jordan never spoke about these traumas that he went through. Michael B. Jordan, even though Damian was arrested because he was brandishing a weapon, we come later to find out that Michael B. Jordan fled the scene once the cops got there and let Damian take the rap, basically, for what had happened. Damian didn't shoot anybody from what the movie depicted. He just brandished the gun to get those people off of Donnie. And he took the rap, but Damian had priors. And growing up in Los Angeles, depending as to what your priors are, that'll put you away in jail for a long period of time. So Damian was no saint. Donnie wasn't a saint. But Damian was the only one that went down. Why was Donnie in a group home? Well, we all learned in the first two Creed movies that Adonis Creed did not grow up in the shadow of Apollo Creed. He didn't grow up in that rich lifestyle with his other brothers and sisters, and grew up in a very tough neighborhood in his early years and things of that nature. So there you have that. So when Damian reappears after he comes out of prison, that's when all the drama ensues. Like I said before, Damian feels like he deserves Donnie's life, and Donnie's been living the life that Damian should have lived if he would have kept his head on straight. Damian wasn't necessarily looking for the handout, but he was manipulating the situation in a way where it didn't put Donnie's back against the wall, but he knew he can use Donnie's potential guilt against him to get him back into boxing training, essentially setting up this whole ordeal to get a shot at the heavyweight championship of the world. And that's where the whole movie ensues. I really, really like this movie. Like, the storyline made sense. I mean, not everybody knows this, right? But at the end of the day, coming up in urban communities, especially for people of color, who've had it in, you know what? Not even urban communities, but when you come up in rougher circumstances, and you're privy to information as to when people get locked up or put into jail and then they come back home, there's this syndrome in which they tap into when they come home, having to feel like they have to prove something to the world and thinking that, the people who were once around them before they went to jail should do for them, just in general, not necessarily knowing that, life went on the outside and they've got to make their own way. And that's really more or less the moral of the story of where the dissension and the angst came from Damian's part, Jonathan Major's character, and the guilt that Adonis, Michael B. Jordan's character, had because he felt a sort of way because he fled the scene. He let his homie take the rap, and he was able to go on to do bigger and better things. And one of the scenes in the movie had the trainer, played by Wood Harris, Duke, tell Donnie that he didn't owe Dame anything. And it's an interesting dynamic, right? Because I feel from like a philosophical standpoint, yeah, no doubt Dame had priors and all that. But if Donnie hadn't gone ahead and beat down Leon, none of that would have happened. Dame that night had, when they were kids, had won a fight that basically Donnie helped him win with tips at ringside. And they were like brothers because they had spent a couple of years together in the group home. And when Duke said that to Donnie, I said to myself, I don't know if I necessarily agree with that. Yeah, I get the whole perception of you don't owe anybody anything. We're all humans. We're allowed to live our own lives, and people make their own decisions and things of that nature. But if you look at the situation from the outside looking in, you can understand as to why Adonis had this guilt. Like, it was his fault that Dame went to jail. Like, that's not even a joke. That's not even a failed veil of perception. Like, Donnie was the one who put the beats on Leon. Then and he put the beats on Leon outside of a convenience store. I guess Leon was traveling with other young men who were in the convenience store. They came out of the convenience store, then they dragged Donnie off of Leon, and they were about to put the beats on Donnie. But I guess from afar, Dame saw what was going on. Dame had a gun in his car, grabbed his gun, brandished the weapon in front of those people. The cops were called because Donnie was beating up Leon. The cops came right away. It's South Central Los Angeles in the early to mid 90s. The cops responded right away. When Donnie fled the scene, obviously Dame had the gun in his hand. Being that Dame obviously went to jail and got older, it wasn't one of those bad situations, but he was able to put the gun on the floor. He didn't shoot anybody, but then he was arrested and things of that nature. Dame had priors because, like Donnie, Dame coming up full of anger and angst had priors on his record and things of that nature due to violent acts and things of that nature. So he wanted to put that violence to work for him, which is why he became a Gold Gloves boxer. But with those events happening, Dame went away to jail for those 18 years. And to me, when Duke told Donnie he didn't owe him anything, this is, I guess, a personal thing for me. I didn't agree with Duke at all. I just didn't. You don't leave, at least this is the way that I was raised or grew up. I've had the same friends, homies, people that I consider family. I'm 38 now, for 20 plus years. Some 30 plus. You don't leave your homies hanging. That happened to me once, where I caught the rap for some dumb shit when I was 17. And I'll admit this here, because I don't think any of them listen to my podcast, but ever since then, when I was caught up in some mess, and yeah, it was my fault at the end of the day. I was the one who made the mistake and all that stuff or whatever. I didn't go to prison or anything like that, folks, or whatever. I got locked up for about 48 hours, and then I came back home. Did some community service, and it was what it was. Scared straight, never did anything stupid in my life ever again. But I thought that I was the better of the crew, trying to do something that everybody else did. The first time in my life where I felt like where I got influenced by the people around me, and I did something I shouldn't have done. I always prided myself on a dude to create his own path and be the trendsetter and not follow the trend, right? I think that's one of the few times in my life that I can count where I felt like I had to follow the trend and do what my other friends were doing. Even though they didn't get caught doing it, I eventually get caught. And yeah, like what happened with Adonis and Dame resonated with me. Because ever since that day, and after the situation cleared up and all the disappointment from my mom and my family members and stuff like that, or whatever the case is, all that group of friends of mine could do was just make fun of me about it. And ever since then, I would say I looked at all of them differently. And ever since then, I decided, yeah, I'm going to change my group of friends. Because I can't hang around this bullshit and just follow suit and play follow the leader. So I did that. And life's worked out pretty well since then. Struggles here and there. Typical New York City shit that I feel a lot of us go through here from a financial standpoint, coming up in urban communities and stuff like that or whatever, and just trying to find our place here, you know? But you know, I'm where I'm at 38, no kids, no priors, no violent acts, kept my head on straight, and for the most part, I've reached a certain level of success in life, which Damian couldn't do for himself because obviously he got locked up and was in the prison system for 18 years. But when you feel like your friends done left you behind, and nobody would vouch for you, right, while you were inside, that feeling doesn't necessarily ever go away, unless you do something that just catapults you or transforms your life. And in this case, Dame played it with, malicious intent, I guess is the only way that I can say it. Set things up to where he manipulated certain situations to where he was able to put himself in line to get a shot at that title where he didn't even deserve it. But at the end of the day, I think he also proved, beyond a shadow of a doubt, dirty boxer or not, there were certain parts of the fight where he initially won the title from another boxer, where I said to myself, this boxer has the same rolling shoulder defense that Floyd Mayweather has. Full disclosure, I'm not a big fan of Floyd Mayweather. I never understood some of the stuff he did professionally. I understand he's a greatly skilled defensive boxer. Great, fantastic. In the movie, though, in Creed, I saw something that I've always kind of I've always thought, but didn't necessarily know if it was legal or not in boxing. There was a scene, Dame basically took out the heavyweight champion's shoulder from him not to be able to roll it for defensive purposes. And at one point during the match, Dame hit knee to knee to the boxer, which got him deducted 2 points. But the hit to the shoulder wasn't a ding against Dame. And I always thought to myself, and I was like, why didn't anybody ever really do that to Mayweather? The body's an open canvas. He rolls his shoulder, take the shoulder out, take it out of commission. Like, you're allowed to punch the body into the kidneys, but not the shoulder? I never understood that. So it's like, if he's rolling that shoulder, take the shoulder out of commission, have him drop the guard, because he's not gonna be able to put his hands up, and just go to work. And that's what Dame did in this fight, basically. And he was able to knock out the heavyweight champion, and he became heavyweight champion for a short-term period. He then had a confrontation with Donnie, and that's where the drama ensued. And Donnie had to do the whole training montage thing, get back into shape, eventually fight Dame, and do the damn thing. Yeah, I gave you the whole story. John, what's the review? I thought that the freaking story was captivating. For me to even retain the majority of the story in my head that I watched 4 days ago is ridiculous. And me being able to relate it to real life things for me myself, things that I've gone through, obviously from a sports perspective, me bringing in Floyd Mayweather and style of fighting. Like, the movie itself was real in that perspective, because it's like, oh, wait a minute. If you watch enough boxing, you understand as to what some of the defensive maneuverability is in the ring. And it's like, yeah, damn, that wasn't a bad shot by Dame, because he had done that even in his younger days as a teenager, as a Gold Glove boxer. That shoulder hit wasn't illegal. People just don't do it. I was like, oh, fair fights and things of that nature. And it's like, well, as long as he ain't killing nobody, everything's fair game in a boxing ring. Obviously, you don't go for low blows. You don't go for the legs, obviously. But it's like, shoulders are connected to your head. I'm allowed to knock your block off, but I can't knock your shoulder off. I'll leave that there. I thought that the cinematography was amazing. The soundtrack was dope. I am I don't want to say retired, but I'm a hip hop head from the 90s and the early 2000s. So to listen to West Coast hip hop featuring Dr. Dre, even some newer stuff that has some J. Cole stuff on there and whatnot, the soundtrack was pretty dope. I believe that the score was actually pretty good too. The actualization into live action of Michael B. Jordan's love for anime was seen throughout the fight scenes. For people who don't watch enough anime to understand as to what was going on, or see that influence, folks, it is evident from the ripple effects of the hits and the punches in the ring to the final fight and the final scene, where they basically both zone out into this realm where they're just fighting each other, which feels like a short amount of time, but in the movie they enter this paradox where it's just the two of them in a void fighting one another in a boxing ring in an empty arena, and it's just them two, not even a ref in the ring. And they enter, the scene starts at round 3, and by the time the scene ends, that block scene ends, they're in round 11. That's how focused they were on each other. That's where all the emotion and all the rage and all the anger was. Because the empty stadium, it wasn't in a bright coliseum. It was in a darkened area. So it felt very ominous and a very, like I said, very focused fight scene. And that within itself is anime inspired, because it happens to a lot of those different anime shows that has a lot of different fight scenes where if it's not a group fighting scene, it's very synchronous between the opponents. No one else is around. even though physically there are people around, but it's just them two, and they're battling in an arena. And that's how Michael B. Jordan put that together, along with the hits, and the facials and all the different effects that they had going on. Loved the anime influences in this. Michael B. Jordan's directorial debut is a success, a whopping success, folks. How much of a whopping success? The movie released on Friday, March 3rd. As of right now, opening weekend is the highest grossing of any of the Rocky franchise films opening weekends ever, at $58.6 million. It is also the highest grossing sports movie to ever open at that high of a clip in the box office. So shouts to the entire cast of Creed, Michael B. Jordan, Jonathan Majors, Tessa Thompson, Wood Harris, Florian Munteanu made an appearance in this particular film again. He was in Creed 2 as the son of Victor Drago. He made an appearance in this film. Mila Davis-Kent, lovely young girl. She played the daughter of Michael B. Jordan. She's deaf. It seems that they're playing up her character in the future of this Creed franchise. So look out for that, folks. Definitely recommend this film. It runs at 1 hour and 56 minutes. Like I said, I watched it in IMAX. I think it was the superior viewing experience. The sound was incredible and the visuals were incredible. But let me wrap you guys up after this long explanation. And man, you just spoiled the whole movie for me and stuff like that. This is why I put and post my reviews after the movies have come out. They're going to be spoiler filled, because I can't, for myself, I'm not like the pundits and the talking heads, and it's like, oh, I'm going to give you a spoiler-free review. I don't believe in that shit. Sometimes, without giving away certain things, I can't put my expression of how I felt about it together. So this is why I put it into podcast form and stuff like that. But Rotten Tomatoes. What's Rotten Tomatoes saying? What is it saying about Creed 3? Well, it is certified fresh. 249 critic reviews have it at an 87%. And us, the people who always believe in the underdog story, 2,500 verified Rotten Tomatoes ratings at 96%. So the people are loving Creed 3. So folks, that is my review on Creed 3. I hope that my recommendation gets you to the theaters this weekend to go out and watch it. Watch it in IMAX, even Dolby Cinemas. The standard laser is not going to give you the full effect. You need that bass. You need those hard knocking speakers to give you those hard hitting effects. And those premium screens are going to give you the visual effects that Michael B. Jordan worked so hard to put together in this film. I don't do number ratings. I just do recommendations. I recommend this film to all of y'all. Thank you for listening. As always, good people, the YFNMG Movie Nation. This has been your friendly neighborhood moviegoer, John L. And I'm signing off. Until next time. Stay healthy, folks. Be good to one another. And stay safe out there. I'll be back. Got some more movies to talk about this weekend. And yeah. Check you out next time. Peace.